Welcome to WeLearn Virtual Learning Network. This is session number 16, Sound Patterns of Language to Literature. Topics to be covered in this session are rhyme, rhythm, alliteration, assonance, onomatopoeia. So let us start with rhythm. Before that, I would like to tell you that literature represents the best and the finest expression of human thoughts, feelings, emotion and expression. लिटरेचर में हमेशा एक बहुत ही सुंदर और फाइनेस्ट तरीका रहता है, एक्सप्रेशन रहता है, जिससे कि वो ह्यूमन थॉट्स को, फीलिंग्स को, इमोशंस को, एस्पिरेशंस को बहुत सुंदर तरीके से एक्सप्रेस कर सकता है. इट ऑल्सो रिप्रेजेंट्स द मोस्ट इफेक्टिव यूज ऑफ लैंग्वेज. More often than not, writers make the most ordinary day-to-day things and events appear striking, beautiful, or mysterious. This is done by the artistic use of language. In prose or poetry, more so in poetry, creative writers use literary devices which, though they are based on patterns and usages that exist in the language, are more typical of literature than of common. Everyday speech or writing. It is not as if such devices are not used in everyday speech or common writing. As a matter of fact, they are used in conversation, personal letters, journalistic writings, but the use is less frequent than in literary works. It is this greater frequency of the use and the sustained manner in which creative writers use these literary devices that constitute the difference between common, everyday language and literary language. The choice of particular literary devices as well as frequency of their use also mark what we call as a style of the writer. So it must be remembered that whenever a person speaks or writes in day-to-day context, we refer to it as a manner of speaking or manner of writing. But when a writer does it in a sustained manner, we refer to it as his or her style. We must remember that no writer uses one literary device or the other all the time. So let us start with the first literary device, that is rhythm. The term rhythm refers to the movement that recur at regular interval of time. You can see a sentence here, a change of air would do you good. So, the stressed syllables are marked with a sign placed before them. Here we have 8 syllables, of which 4 are stressed and they come at equal intervals of time. So, we have a rhythmic pattern consisting of unstressed syllables and stressed syllables coming alternately. So, you can see a change of year would do you good. This kind of rhythm is common in poetry and is called iambic meter. Meter is the term used to indicate the number of stressed syllables that forms the beat and arrangement of stressed or unstressed syllables in each poem or each line of a poem. If it happens to be a line of poetry, has 4 beats or 4 feet. If we have a pattern in which one weak or stressed or unstressed syllable is followed by a strong unstressed syllable, we call it as iambic meter. Most English poetry is written in this meter. One has to understand and appreciate the metrical patterns in order to appreciate and enjoy poetry. A good deal of the special sound effects aimed at the writers depend on such patterns of a rhythm. So you can see here, meter is a term used to indicate the number of stressed syllables that forms a beat and the arrangement of stressed and unstressed syllables in each line of a poem. That is called the rhythm for the poem. You can see these kind of things in Shelley's poem also. Many other poems include these kind of rhythm where iambic meter is used. Next we are going to study is rhyme. Rhyme is a term used for the similarity of sounds in the final syllable or syllables of 2 or more lines of verse. For 2 lines to rhyme, the last stressed vowel sound and all the sounds after it must be the same. Rhyme is frequently used at the ends of line of poetry for particular effects. The recurrence of the same frequency or the same sequence of the sound has a pleasing effect. Because it fulfills the reader's expectancy, it also marks the end of the line. By adopting a particular rhyme scheme in a stanza, the poet can bind the lines together and thus achieve unity. So nursery rhymes appeals to us and are so easy to remember because they all have rhyme. Because उनमें rhyme रहती है, इसीलिए बहुत पढ़कर भी उन्हें अच्छा सा अपील होता है और remember करने में भी याद रहती हैं. Children memorize them easily और उनको recite करने में भी अच्छा लगता है. Most lyrics, songs, ballads also have rhyme. Like, he holds him with his glittering eye. The wedding guest stood still and listens like a 3-year child. The mariner hath his will. This is taken from Coleridge, the rhyme of the ancient mariner. This is the rhyme you can see here, which is seen at the end of the marks, the end of the line. Rhyme may be used by poets to form different patterns. Such pattern is called rhyme scheme. Here you can see in the example I have given you, where line 2 and line 4 had a rhyme together, but line 1 and 3 don't. Sometimes in the example, line 1 and 4 have got rhyme, and sometimes 2 and 3 get rhyme. In order to describe the rhyme scheme in the example that follows, we would say that it has a rhyme scheme A, B, B, A. Or we can say, here we can have A, B, A, B. So these kind of rhyme schemes are there. Now the next literary device is alliteration. The term alliteration refers to the appearance of the same consonant sound or sounds at the beginning of 2 or more words that are next to or close to each other. The fair breeze blew, the white foam flew, the furrow followed free. We were the first that ever burst into that silent sea. So आपने यहाँ देखा, first line में आपको B breeze blew and आगे foam flew. दो same जब consonant sound से start होते हैं, we call it as alliteration. The furrow followed free. Furrow followed free. तीनों F से रहेंगे. So you have noticed here that sound F occurs at the beginning of fair, foam, flew, furrow followed P. First, sound B occurs at the beginning of the breeze, blew and burst. The sound W occurs at the beginning of white, we and were. The sound S occurs at the beginning of the silent and C. So this is called an alliteration, where you can see here जहाँ पर जो same consonants और the same consonant sound है वो दो या दो से ज्यादा words में आती है जो एक दूसरे के next हैं या when they are close to each other in a poem or a sentence. Next one is assonance. Assonance की अगर हम बात करें तो ये term बिल्कुल similar रहता है पहले वाले के साथ, that is अभी हमने पढ़ा जो alliteration. इसमें क्या है, similarity है in the way words sound, especially the vowel sounds in them. जैसे कि born, warm, इस तरीके से आप देख रहे हैं यहाँ पर sounds की, vowel sounds की similarity रही. born and warm दोनों में o का sound रहा, vowel sound same रहा, इसीलिए इनमें हम assonance कहेंगे. और एग्जाम्पल अगर हम लें तो and the May month flaps its glad green leaves like pigs. इसमें if you notice तो ए की साउंड जो है flap and glad, ए साउंड जो है in both word flaps and glad are same here. There are similarity in the sounds in both the cases, and the sound I in green and leaves. So I की साउंड, लॉन्ग आई की साउंड दोनों केसेस में रहेगी. तो जहां पर इस तरीके का साउंड रहता है, जहां पर स्पेशली वावल साउंड्स जो हैं वो काफी सेम तरीके से सिमिलैरिटी में रहते हैं, उन्हें हम एजोनेंस का नाम देते हैं. और भी बहुत सारे तरीके के डिवाइसेस रहते हैं अगर हम देखें तो, बट यहाँ पर अभी मैंने आपको सिर्फ आज राइम, रिदम, एलिटरेशन, एजोनेंस और ओनोमैटोपिया बताना है. ये डिवाइसेस मैंने आपको बताया कि बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट स्टाइल मार्क करते हैं किसी भी लैंग्वेज का. ओनोमैटोपिया की यहाँ पर बात करते हैं, जहां पर हम देखें तो लैंग्वेज हैज एन इमिटेटिव और सजेस्टिव एस्पेक्ट। आपको मैंने बताया कि कई बार बहुत ही इमोशंस और हर चीज को टच करने वाला रहता है लिटरेचर का काम, और कई बार बहुत ही इमिटेटिव और सजेस्टिव एस्पेक्ट हमें दिखता है लैंग्वेज में। When we form words that are like natural sounds, जो नेचुरल साउंड्स को फॉर्म करती हैं या फिर सजेस्ट करती हैं, उन वर्ड्स को हम ओनोमैटोपिया का नाम देते हैं। जैसे कि द वर्ड कक्कू इज टू नेम द बर्ड दैट मेक्स दैट साउंड। हमने उसके नाम, उसकी साउंड से ही उस बर्ड का नाम रख दिया। सो कक्कू, this is a type of sound that the bird makes and we have named it as cuckoo. So cuckoo word is an onomatopoeia here. और भी बहुत से ऐसे वर्ड्स रहते हैं। ट्विटरिंग, यू कैन सी, दैट मीन्स मेकिंग अ नंबर ऑफ शॉर्ट रैपिड साउंड्स। सो ये भी एक साउंड है इट्स अ वर्ड विच इज एक्सप्रेसिंग सम काइंड ऑफ साउंड। सो अगेन इट्स एन ओनोमैटोपिया। चर्पिंग की बात करते हैं अगर हम, तो इट इज मेकिंग शॉर्ट शार्प साउंड्स। So again, it is telling you something about the sound. It is explaining the kind of sound in a sentence. Swish की अगर हम बात करें तो sharp whistling noise made when something cuts through the air. For example, the cow's tail swishing. Or you can say a soft sound made in movement. For example, the sound of clothes. Or you can say tooting, making a short warning sound on a horn, whistle, etc. Rumble भी एक तरीके का साउंड है जिसका डीप कॉन्टिन्यूस रोलिंग साउंड के लिए जो हम यूज करते हैं, लाइक द साउंड ऑफ थंडर। ऐसे ही रसल भी रहता है, स्लाइड साउंड मेड व्हेन पेपर, ड्राई लीव, सिल्क आर मूव्ड और रब टुगेदर। सो ये इस तरीके के वर्ड्स जो रहते हैं वो ओनोमैटोपिया को express करते हैं. These are all called onomatopoeia because they are suggestive or imitative of the words that are used for natural sounds. So onomatopoeia, I think here it is more clear to you that it should be remembered, however, that there is no fixed or one-to-one correspondence. One-to-one correspondence नहीं है, but फिर भी fix रहता है between natural sounds and the words that are language uses for them. As a matter of fact, different languages, that is speakers of different languages, hear natural sounds differently and represent them through words differently. While you can say for a speaker of English birds, chirp, another language might represent the sound made by words differently. It might be, you can say, useful to think of how your own language has words suggestive of sounds made by animals and birds in contrast to those in English. So, Guddu Chopra in his Times of India, he has given one article with the name Sound Effects, where he has made a lot of words which express these kind of onomatopoeia. Like, I can give you a little bit of the paragraph. I'm not giving you the whole paragraph here. It's a long one. So, I'm just giving you a short one here, a part of a paragraph. I never realized till a morning or two ago how much certain sounds mean to me. It happened when I woke only to find it still dark outside. I was about to reach for the timepiece by my bed when I heard the birds twittering and chirping outside. It was then that I realized that winter was slowly coming on and the days were shortening. But it was waking time nevertheless. After all, those birds' sound are my daily cue for hopping out of bed. The other sound that means so much to me in the morning is the swish sound of the newspapers being shoved under the door. The day it happens late or doesn't happen at all finds me in a foul food. Then there are a host of other sounds that comprise the Mirch masala of my life, the sound of the engine tooting on the railway line near my place, followed by a rumble of passing train. So you can see here twittering, chirping, swish. ये सभी sounds का मैंने आपको बताया. These are rustle of leaves. Rustle bee is another sound during a high wind, of a marriage band, of temple bells ringing, of laughter, anywhere, any kind, any time, of music, anywhere, any kind, any time. Talking of music, there are some sounds that are definitely music in my household, though may not count as such to me. My wife tells me that the sound that pleases her most is that of me clacking away at my typewriter, for that means that all is well with me, that I am ticking away merrily, which is precisely what I feel about her when I hear the tum-tumming of utensils and the clip-clop of cups and saucers. So again, utensils ka tum-tumming is another sound. Clip-clop of cups and saucers, another sound here. These are all ticking away merrily. Ticking is another sound, including an occasional crash. So these are all onomatopoeia coming from the kitchen. She's there. And for both of us, it is the sound of our little boys playing and fighting, as all little boys do when thrown together. That makes us the happiest. So you have seen I have given you a little bit of the paragraph, or I am not giving you the whole one here. यहाँ पे आपने काफी सारे साउंड इफेक्ट्स देखे जो गुड्डू चोपड़ा ने टाइम्स ऑफ इंडिया के एक आर्टिकल में दिए विद द नेम ऑफ साउंड इफेक्ट्स. So these are all words which are called onomatopoeia. एक लैंग्वेज जो है बहुत ही ब्यूटीफुली हम पोर्ट्रे कर सकते हैं, जहाँ पे हम इमोशंस को और आप कह सकते हैं अपनी फीलिंग्स को, थॉट्स को, एस्पिरेशंस को डे टू डे हम इनको डे टू डे में भी यूज कर सकते हैं. बट जब भी लिटरेचर की बात आती है तो ये सबसे इफेक्टिव यूज रहता है लैंग्वेज का, जहाँ पे हम बहुत ही प्यारे तरीके से अपनी लैंग्वेज को, अपनी बातों को एक्सप्लेन कर सकते हैं. जर्नलिस्टिक राइटिंग और उनके लिए भी हम यूज करते हैं. पर जहां तक बात आती है लिटरेचर की, जहां बहुत पोएट्स डूब के ख्यालों में बहुत सुंदर तरीके से चीजें दिखाते हैं, वहां पे इस लिटरेरी लैंग्वेज में इस तरीके के डिवाइसेस का यूज किया जाता है और वही हम एक राइटर का स्टाइल मानते हैं. इसीलिए हम उनके मैनर ऑफ स्पीकिंग, राइटिंग को अगर हम देखें तो इट इज इन अ सस्टेन मैनर. वी रेफर टू इट एज हर और हिज स्टाइल. You also remember that no writer uses one literary devices or the other all the time. Writers choose devices that would produce the maximum effect and are best suited to the subject, theme, situation. These devices are intended to produce certain artistic effects in a literary work. So you can see here different type of devices they are using to give the maximum effect. यही स्टाइल है. एंड नो राइटर यूजेस वन लिटरेरी डिवाइस और द अदर ऑल द टाइम. इट डिपेंड्स ऑलवेज ऑन द सब्जेक्ट. हमेशा एक सब्जेक्ट के, थीम के या सिचुएशन के अकॉर्डिंगली डिफरेंट इफेक्ट्स यूज करने होते हैं और इससे एक सर्टन आर्टिस्टिक इफेक्ट यूज होता है इन अ लिटरेरी लैंग्वेज और लिटरेरी वर्क. आज हमने जो डिवाइसेस पढ़े उनमें हमने वो डिवाइसेस स्पेशल साउंड इफेक्ट्स या फिर ऐड करते हैं इम्पैक्ट ऑफ द लिटरेरी वर्क. उनमें हमने आज रिदम, राइम, एलिट्रेशन, एजोनेंस एंड ओनोमैटोपोएia पढ़ा. नाउ सम डू इट योरसेल्फ क्वेश्चंस फॉर यू. रीड द फॉलोइंग स्टैंजा फ्रॉम जॉन मैसीफील्ड पोएम Laugh and Be Merry and answer the questions below. Laugh and be merry, remember, better world with a song, better the world with a blow in the teeth of a wrong. Laugh for the time is brief, a thread of the length of a span. Laugh and be proud to belong to old proud pageant of man. You have to give a number of syllable in each line, and is there a pattern or any other device used in this? You need to tell that. So that's all for the session. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Happy learning. We learning.